What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is finally the day. We're going to be tearing into this thing, getting the QS165 mounted up. So we'll start this off with part one of the series. I believe the only plan I really have right now is tear this down, get the swing arm off, and then I'll probably cut the shock tower off and come up with the plan from there. But figured just make this little intro to introduce any of the new guys or any of the new people in here. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. But just to keep you updated, we are going to be swapping a QS165 motor into the swing arm with the far driver controller, full light kit, full harness and everything. And yeah, so let's get a time lapse going and we'll get this started. Once I get all this taken apart, I'll come up with a plan and I'll bring you guys back in and we'll figure out what we're gonna do. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got the bike torn down just about to where I need it. I think in the meantime, when I do get this all set up, I will continue to use the old throttle, or not the old throttle, the old light switch. I'm having a brain fart over here. As you can see, it just started raining. Well, maybe you can see, kind of see on the ground right there. But anyways, so tore the swing arm down. I still got to go through and like take off all of these tabs for the old guard. Won't be needing that. I think I'm going to try to incorporate the old chain tensioner. I got to get the old motor mount out, as you can see that guy, and then I'll be cutting the shock tower off. So basically lining these up, getting it to, you know, just about where I would like it. Obviously the motor's gonna have to come down just a bit, but when I come over here and I measure, I need the pivot point to be out here, and roughly like maybe 3/8 to 1/2 inch past. That way when the swing arm swings up and down, the back of the motor isn't smacking into the frame of the Mototec. So I'm measuring about 3.5 inch stretch, and once I get the motor plate from the old motor taken off, what I'll do is I'll cut these two ends off right here. And you know, I was gonna go with something similar like this for the back side of the engine mount, but the way I'm gonna have to place the motor, I'm gonna have to tilt it slightly up so the motor isn't just hanging out the bottom like crazy. I don't necessarily want that, but we'll see when that time comes. It is going to be pretty squished in there. The motor is still pretty wide. When you put it in there, the nut on the sprocket does want to hit this, so I'll probably have to have the nut and the sprocket kind of over the swing arm bar. That way it's not rubbing on the inside. But that's going to help to raise the motor up over the sprocket just a bit, the swing arm just a bit. Hopefully that all makes sense. Scratching my brain right now trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. But yeah, I think I'm going to cut up the swing arm real quick, and what I'll end up doing most likely is putting the wheel back on here with the spacers, and then kind of eyeballing where I want the motor to sit in here. And then from there I will cut these. I will extend them out, like I said, roughly about 3.5 inches, and pretty much go from there. I'll give you a step-by-step as I'm going through it. You know, once I get this cut up, I'll show you how I'm gonna kind of eyeball it. You know, this isn't gonna be perfect. I don't have a jig for this, so this is gonna be pretty much version 1. Later on, you know, after I get everything in here and I like the QS165 far driver combo, then, you know, probably I'll just start from scratch and make a whole new swing arm. But I'm gonna use what I got for now, and let me get this swing arm grinded, or excuse me, get this swing arm cut up, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty, here we go. So as you can see, I got the shock hoop and the motor tab and the all the other tabs cut off. So far so good. Didn't cut into the swing arm. Maybe a little bit on top there, but basically I'm just gonna go through with the grinder, knock all this stuff down, and you know, knock all this stuff down, clean it all up. That way I have a nice straight piece, and then from there I'll basically I'll probably put the wheel on with the spacers and try to line it up as best as I can, and then from there I'll eyeball the motor on the inside of it, and then cut it, stretch them out, weld the stretches on real quick, and then from there work on mounting the motor. All right, and we're back. So I got the swing arm sides all ground down, so it's all nice and flat here, and I kind of just used my magnets and kind of made up a little jig to get the wheel standing straight. Got my brake bracket in there, and I got the spacers and the axle through, so I'm spaced in the back. And then from the front I just measured what I needed to be width-wise in between here, and then what I did was took this straight piece of metal right here, and I'm gonna take this off real quick. Just had that on there to look at it. Basically just took this right here, got it nice and flat. That way we're running nice straight line all the way down. Now it is looking like it does need to be pretty dang close to the swing arm. You can see the nut right here. So I will have to keep that up and above it, which isn't a huge deal. I think I'm just gonna go with 3 mounts. So we'll do this one, the other side, and then the back side of this mount. And that should be pretty good. Jordan did that with his as well, and that thing was stout. So that shouldn't be an issue. Now what I'm thinking is I need to come out and bring this whole section over to about here, just so I can get it past the motor and give myself like a good 1/2 inch. So I'm measuring, and I look to be about 3 inches. I'm gonna eyeball it some more and just be 100% sure. I got room. Sorry, it's hard to see with the lighting right here, but I do have room in between the tire and the motor, which is good. So I don't know, I might go like 3 1/4 and call it good. I was gonna go with this style mount up front, but it's just not gonna work out that well. So what I'm gonna do is just make some tabs for the sides here, and then once I make my shock hoop, I'll come around and I'll bring a tab off of that for the back pieces as well. I was kind of playing around with the shock hoop. Oh, almost knocked my drink over there. But I'm thinking I might be able to use that. So if I weld that down, you know, like so, and then extend this out, then I can have another piece right here to triangulate it. And then, you know, I could weld some gusset pieces or something in there to make it stronger. You know, obviously I'm gonna have to cut everything flat, so I will end up with a little bit less material. And then hopefully I'll be able to use the stock mounting point for the shock. And then what I'll end up doing is, since it'll be up so much higher, it'll make the shock almost come straight out, horizontal. So I'm thinking I might make a new mount and put it somewhere up here just to bring the whole shock position back. Probably get a little bit better suspension that way. But yeah, I think I'm gonna scratch my head a little bit more, figure this out, and go ahead and cut the ends off of the swing arm right here. I have my pieces ready for my extension. Excuse the huge mess over here. But I have this piece that I can cut into 3-inch sections, and then what I'll be doing is, you know, just go right here, cut it down, you know, make sure I cut it nice and straight so it's not all wonky. And then I will take this piece, weld a 3-inch piece in between it, and then what I'm going to do after, just because, you know, I'm not an expert welder, and you know, this is going to be my first project where it needs to be structurally sound. So what I'm going to do is take this flat bar, and then I'm going to place it over where I weld the two sides of the swing arm back together, overlap it, and then what I'll do is I'll weld it across the top and the bottom. That way it's gonna, you know, help strengthen up those welds just a little bit more. At least it'll make me feel more comfortable. But yeah, so let me get to chopping up the swing arm and extending them, and then from there, I believe, you know, I'll probably end up mounting it back onto the bike and placing the motor in there, and then just kind of figuring out where I need to put the tabs, tack the tabs down, and yeah, hopefully we'll have the mounter mounted by this video. Right, and welcome back. Here we go. So obviously you can see I got my swing arm sides both cut up, and right here you can see my they're about 3 3/8 pieces. You can see I have these lined up. I'm using a flat edge to make sure I'm straight, and then using the flat ends of the magnets to make sure I'm going straight the other way. And what I'm going to do is tack these down and just make sure everything looks good before I fully weld it. Move on to this, tack that onto it as well, and then like I said, I'll put that piece of flat bar across, and you know, go from about here to here just to strengthen it up a little bit. But yeah, so if you came here for weld porn, this is not the place. I will be doing this with flux core. It's going to be splattery, it's going to be ugly. So honestly, I'm probably not even going to bother recording the welding. I don't want to risk damaging my lens. It probably won't, but better be safe than sorry. But if you guys do want to see some welding in the future, I do plan on getting some 75-25 gas for the welder. That way I can do some real MIG. And like I said, I do plan on, you know, revamping this, making a whole new swing arm, you know, from scratch. That would be pretty cool. I've been seeing a lot of the Razor guys, well, a couple of the Razor guys building extended swing arms, and they have a bunch of great ideas that I can swoop from them. So anyways, that's for a future date. But right now, I'm going to get these tacked up, and we'll have our extended swing arm done. And then from there, I will take another piece of thicker flat bar, and I will cut out some mounts, drill some holes, and you know, figure out where we're going to mount this thing up. And I'll be back. And another quick little update. So I have my extension pieces tacked into place. I got these going the right direction. And let's see if I can show you on camera. You can see the ends line up and these ends line up, so we got the same length on both of them, which is good. I mean, if they are a little bit off, these slots will make up for that. But yeah, so I'm happy with how they look. They look nice and straight. You can go down there, nice and straight. Looks good. So now I'm just going to completely weld all the way around, and then, like I said, on the outside I will be taking a piece of flat bar, and then I'll grind all of this nice and flat, and put a piece of flat bar from here all the way down to the end. That's just gonna kind of help strengthen it up, and you know, either stitch weld it or completely weld top and bottom, and then of course the sides. And that should make it pretty strong, especially welding with flux core. The weld isn't that bad. See if I can focus a little bit better here. But yeah, the weld isn't that bad. I gotta clean up all this, get it nice and shiny, and then weld it all together. But as you can see, for not having a chop saw and just, you know, freehanding it with the grinder, it's working out pretty good. Cool. So I'm gonna get these all welded up, and you know, I'll probably just get the plates on, and then I'll show you the finished product as far as these go. And then from there, I believe I'm going to throw it onto the back of the bike, put the wheels on, and then kind of just hold the motor up in there until I can figure out where it's nice and straight, with the sprocket to sprocket, all that good stuff. Alrighty, so let's bring you up to speed. Like I said, I was going to mount the swing arm onto the frame and the wheels, got it all tightened down, and just about figure out where I want the motor to sit. So I got tab welded there, tab welded on the other side, and most likely I'll be raising it just about somewhere over here. I did take my flat edge, excuse the shitty camera angles, and put my flat edge so we're running straight, so we should be good with our chain. Tire's a little bit pointed one way, but I made up for that, so it should be good. So basically, I think I'm liking this position a lot, and the phase wires are going in there tucked nice and neat. Shouldn't have any issues. Got plenty of clearance back here. Got plenty of clearance in between the wheel and the motor. So I think we're looking pretty good on this aspect. So now I believe I am going to figure out how to get this shock hoop mounted and get my other tab. I'm probably just going to do one more tab on this side right here, and we should be pretty strong, but time will tell. I might knock that down with the grinder just to get it out of the way. Alright guys, so after scratching my head forever, this is what I came up with. I ended up cutting the stock brackets, cut the top off so I have the mount, and use some tubing to go straight up, weld into that, and then come down. And then you can see I got this flat bar tacked on here. That way it'll add some support in between the triangle and also the third mounting point. So we got 1, 2. I still have to get some more tubing for the other side, but you'll get the point. Straight down to here. Thinking it's a good idea if I add another piece of flat bar right there just to strengthen it up. But try to get this magnet out, and that's it. She's gonna sit a little bit taller right now. I was gonna move the shock down up here to make it come down here more, but this seems like it's working pretty good. I sat on it and it's compressing, so we're pretty good. So yeah, so now I'm just gonna get this other piece. I gotta cut off the ends right here, just make them more flush, and then pull everything off, weld it all together, grind it down, make it look pretty. I still got to weld the flat bar along the seams right here for the 3-inch extension, and that's pretty much gonna do it. I think I'll get this done hopefully tonight, get it all put back together and mounted. I probably won't paint it just yet, and then we'll probably end this first video off. Cool. Alright guys, so I'm gonna call it for this video. I kind of gave up for the night. I'll throw in a little sneak peek video at the end of my little outro here, and a little picture showing you I did get the swing arm mostly welded up. I still got to go through and gusset it, put the flat bar on the outside, so there's still quite a bit of welding to do, and I'm going to start that off in the next video, and then from there we'll probably try to get the controller mounted up and at least get it running for a test trip. And after that, you know, on my own, I'll go ahead and pull everything apart and paint it, and then I'll show you guys afterwards. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this first video. Stay tuned. I'm assuming there's going to be at least a part 2 and a part 3. You know, definitely a part 3 or part 2. So get subscribed if you're already subscribed. I appreciate you. And until next time, peace. Alright dude, you're gonna get a kick out of this. Check it out, stock tensioner. Works like a dream. Yes, sir.